Shalom. Again, I'm Jeff Adler. I'm the rabbi of Messianic Jewish Congregation, Sha'arei Yeshua in Indianapolis. And I'm part of the translation team for the Tree of Life version of the Bible, the new Messianic Jewish Family Bible that's being developed at this current time. And I understand you've been studying John, and so I'd like to just point out a passage that I really appreciate, and it's John 11. Now, we don't have time, of course, to go through the whole chapter, but the event that this revolves around is the death of a man named Lazarus, who was a close personal friend of Yeshua, as were his sisters, Miriam and Martha. And so word came to Yeshua that Lazarus was sick. And when Yeshua heard about it, he stayed 2 more days where he was, not because he didn't care, but because he did care. And so very often God does things in ways that do not seem to jive with the way we see the world. We have to bear in mind he sees things that we don't see. And so he made a statement saying, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God. And that doesn't mean that God is self-centered and just pushes other people down under his thumb in order to enhance his glory. What the glory means is it allows God to shine so that people see him. It allows the real nature and character and heart of God for us to come out. And so that's what he had in mind. Of course, Yeshua went to, and the account talks about all the grieving. He finally went to the town of Bethany, where Miriam and Martha and Lazarus lived, and Lazarus had died, and so Martha hears that Yeshua had come, and so Martha, the first of the 2 sisters to come, came to him and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you." That expresses a hope that even now, even with death, things aren't too late. Yeshua said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." And Martha understands, as a good woman of the Jewish faith, she believed in the doctrine of resurrection. Now, many of our Jewish people have surrendered that concept, but it's very Jewish. It's in the scriptures. It's a classic traditional Jewish belief because it is a classic traditional biblical belief. But she cites a doctrinal statement, and so often we think of our relationship with God in cognitive terms. We think in terms of planks of a creed or a doctrinal statement, and God's interested in real relationship. She's thinking that Yeshua once heard cite a statement of faith, and Messiah then says to her, "No, I'm not talking about doctrine." Yeshua said to her, "Ego eimi he anastasis kai he zoe." I am resurrection and life. He was saying to her, I'm not asking you to cite a creed and a doctrinal statement. I want you to know that resurrection is not a concept. It's not an idea. It's a person. Life is not an idea or a concept. It's a person. Hope is not an idea or a concept. It's a person. Joy is not an idea or a concept. It's a person. Yeshua is that person. He says, I'm resurrection and I'm life. And I tell you that he who believes in me, or literally the believing in me one, even if he dies, he'll live. And whoever lives and believes in me will not die. And so then Yeshua goes, and it says in verse 35 that Yeshua wept. That even though he knew exactly what he was about to do, he was still moved by the sorrow that sin brings about in the lives of people. And he is moved and affected by our heart and by our struggles. And so he goes. They go to the tomb, and he tells them, roll the stone away. And Martha, and if you read other things in the scriptures about Martha,
it's not surprising that she's the one who says, Lord, he's been dead 4 days. Surely he stinks. But we're going to lose the crowd. Yeshua said, roll the stone away, take away the stone. And then he called out, Lazarus, come forth. Lazarus, come out of there. And to everybody's amazement, the man walks, he goes to the entrance of the doorway. And of course he's wrapped in a shroud. He can't see or walk, and he tells them to loose him, which means how did he get to the door of that cave? Obviously the Lord raised him up and carried him there. And there are some who have said that if he hadn't called for Lazarus to come forth, every corpse in the cemetery would have come out. But God did a miracle. Yeshua did a miracle, because life and salvation and hope and joy are not doctrinal statements. They are a person. And if you have Yeshua, you have life. If you have Yeshua, you have resurrection. If you have Yeshua, you have forgiveness of sin. If you have Yeshua, you have all the good things God has in mind for us, and only if you have Yeshua. I hope this has been a help to you. Shalom.